So I completed Far Cry 5 a couple of weeks ago and reviewed it on my channel. And in general I have to say that I really liked and enjoyed playing the game. And while it had its flaws and its negative aspects, the antagonists were really spot on. You know, obviously you have the father, who makes a great antagonist in Far Cry 5, and the three siblings. And you know, while John and Jacob are quite similar to one another, Faith Seed really stands out. You know, in my review I briefly mentioned the influence of Faith on us players and how hypnotizing she was. But I decided to make a separate video on Faith Seed and how she actually managed to manipulate and hypnotize the player and the cult members. Now firstly, you got to say that Faith Seed really tries to create a personal connection. Like, you know, why John and Jacob were quite distant and we never really got to see behind that soldier-like facade. With Faith it's very different. You know, she presents herself as a really caring, kind of motherly figure who provides comfort and love to those who are vulnerable or seeking purpose. And you know, even when it comes to the deputy, there were some scenes where I literally thought that there might be a romance included, or at least a way to free Faith from the cult. Because in my opinion, she really had the most life to her. You know, this one scene that probably gave everybody goosebumps, where she actually talked about her past and showed us and the deputy her vulnerabilities and her insecurities and how she got treated before joining the cult. You know, it really makes us understand the character more. And obviously we have to mention that singing the bliss, like Faith's signature song, is really used as a hypnotic trigger here. And you know, it really enforces the perception that she kind of possesses some divine or mystical ability, further solidifying her control over the cult. And you know, in my review I already talked a little bit about how great and beautiful this song actually was. Like, I listened to it sometimes, even in my private time. And for me, this specific track should get a reward for itself. And you know, when you go through the comments under some videos where, you know, some interactions with Faith are portrayed, like besides all of the simping that the people do, a lot of players felt the same way, kind of trapped on our chairs and, you know, just entering this unconscious trance-like state, you know, and becoming highly suggestible and understandable to what she says. And you know, we players experience hallucinatory sequences throughout the game, and especially in Faith's region. And during those sequences, when we interact with Faith and when we are the subject to her manipulations, these hallucinations really blur the lines between reality and fiction, which further reinforces her control and emotional power. And you know, obviously when we talk about how Faith Seed hypnotizes the player, we obviously got to mention that she's portrayed as a very beautiful young woman. Like, just imagine an overweight, old, ugly guy being in the position of Faith. You know, do you really think as many people would feel so drawn to her? Like, obviously not. We have to talk about those things as well. And Ubisoft obviously thought about that a lot while creating Faith and the character. And you know, her story that she told the deputy really made her more human. You know, well, we didn't really get like any emotional or deep parts when it came to John or Jacob, who obviously went the more brutal route. Like, Faith really brought more life into the game, and liberating her region was also my favorite one out of the three. And now lastly, obviously a factor how Faith actually manipulates us and hallucinates us kind of, are the promises of salvation. You know, Faith promises salvation and a sense of belonging to those who embrace the cult's ideology. You know, the promise of a better future is a really powerful motivator that she knew the power of, and she knew how to use it properly. And now those points are why I believe how Faith actually managed to hypnotize us and almost wanting to join Eden's Gate. Like, if you think about it, at what point were you really the closest to joining Eden's Gate? You know, it's obviously not going through your mind while a sibling of Joseph Seed is kidnapping your friends and threatening to kill everything and everybody you love. You know, during Faith's region, there were really some moments where I was thinking like, can't I actually join Eden's Gate? Like, is it possible? And she definitely made it the most appealing to the player, and definitely even more than the father himself. Alright guys, now I want to hear your opinion on Faith Seed. Obviously I've seen in a lot of comments that a lot of players are kind of overwhelmed with Faith. And I mean, rightfully so, you know, due to those points that I just listed. It really makes sense, and for me she's really a standout character from Far Cry 5. Alright guys, that was it from me in today's video. I hope you have an amazing day. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.